I feel like I have had a really busy past few weeks, and this year has just kind of started off on a high note. There's been so much to do, there's been so much to get done, and so many things that I want to work on at the same time. And something this year has made me realize is that I will need to be bold and I need to take up a form of defiance and a form of boldness if I want to make my dreams come true, if I want to be able to work on my endeavors. And when I felt this need to be bold, when I felt like my life required me to be bold, it was something that was kind of hard to process. Because let me tell you, I've grown up as a really quiet kid. I am those kids who used to sit in the corner of the class and not talk to anyone unless someone talks to them. I'm that kid who was always really quiet and closed off at first until you got to know them and they're like the loudest people you've ever met. I have always grown up as that kind of human being. And even right now, I can't say I'm much of a difference. I'm not really shy, but I don't naturally just start conversations with people, and I am not naturally outgoing until I get to know someone a little bit better. And so being bold is something that I guess I've always viewed kind of wrongly, and I've never seen it in the right light. Because to me, growing up, being bold was being defiant, and being bold was being rude. It's like if I was bold, then I was just being plain rude, and that was not right. I was not being a good child. I was not being a good person by being bold. And that's why I learned to play small. That's why I learned to be quiet. That's why I learned to not be bold. I learned to carry myself with humility. And yes, humility is a really important thing. But I guess that's why I kind of got it wrong, because I always thought that humility and boldness cannot coexist. You cannot be a bold human being but humble at the same time. And it's like the more I am growing up, the more I'm realizing that boldness requires a lot of humility, because boldness is not really about feeling like you are the absolute best and feeling like no one is better than you. But it's kind of like knowing that even as you are, in your humbleness, in your humility, in your lower state, you are still enough and you're still worthy and you can still try out for positions. You can still put yourself out there. It's knowing that you don't really need to be the best for you to try whatever you feel inclined to trying. And this background of mine made me associate boldness with negativity, and I never really saw boldness as a right thing. And so getting to a point where in my life I require to be bold to achieve my goals and to achieve my dreams, it's kind of hard because I have to kind of unlearn everything that I've known about boldness. Even the word itself, bold, felt rude to me. It always felt like it was a rude thing, and I don't even understand why. It always felt like saying I'm bold is saying I'm kind of rude and defiant, and that was not what I wanted to be. But as I'm growing, I'm realizing boldness is actually really humble, and boldness is often taken in a wrong way. People don't really understand what it means to be bold. When you tell someone be bold, they're likely to be kind of crass, kind of ignorant, kind of cocky. When you tell someone to be bold, they think boldness is being the biggest person in the room, like feeling like the best and, acting like it. But really, it's just knowing that you are enough as you are. So that was a very lengthy intro. Welcome to the podcast. I'm filming this on a lovely afternoon. Everything is quite mellow. I'm relaxed. I am feeling a sore throat kind of coming on. So actually today's little drink is a lemon juice. Not lemon juice, lemon water. It's lemon water, warm lemon water, because I need to keep my throat soothed. So the title of this episode is You Are Allowed to Be Bold. This episode is for people who have grown up like me, or people who are they need to try boldness. They need to employ boldness in their lives, but they've never really learned to be bold, and they don't think of boldness as something that's good. Something that I've always had, and you have had too, I'm pretty sure, is a quote that says, "The universe rewards boldness." And the first time I heard that, it was like, so you're telling me that if I stay quiet and humble, the universe will not reward me. You want me to just be rude, and you want me to be defiant and all these things which I have learned are wrong and are completely unlovable, and that's what you want me to be so that the universe can reward me. And as you can see, I had a very wrong view of boldness, and I'd never really understood what boldness was. I guess it's kind of easy to understand why boldness can be seen as rude, because most times when you need to be bold, you do need to cross people. You need to kind of stand up for yourself, stand up for what you want, stand up for what you know is right for you, stand up basically against other people and sometimes even the people that you love. So boldness has like an element of risk in it. There's an element of losing something, someone. There's something that is on the line to be lost by you choosing to be bold. So boldness is sacrificing something. But the question is, what are you sacrificing and what are you sacrificing it for? Is what you're sacrificing it for really worthy and really important, or is it something that you can do without? Boldness requires you to make a lot of sacrifices, and I guess that's why they even say the universe rewards boldness, because sacrifices do bring something back to you. When you sacrifice something, it's most times not for nothing. You're doing it for a greater good. And the reason why boldness now is viewed as rudeness and all that is because sometimes the things you have to sacrifice are relationships with others, people that you love. Sometimes it's a certain position that you used to hold in someone else's life that you've grown used to, but being in that position is not really serving you anymore, and you need to take a bold step and move out of it. And now you're going to sacrifice your relationship with that person. Sometimes it's some dynamics which you've grown into. Sometimes it's molds that people know you as. And for you to move to another stage of life where you're upholding boldness within your life, you need to let go of that version and let people know that that version of you is kind of dead or gone or is no longer serving you. And of course, it's hard for people to adapt to new versions of you. It's hard for people to let go of whom they've known you to be and to pick up a new version of you. So the first thing I can say is, like, if you're thinking of being bold, if you're thinking of standing up for something you believe in, standing up for something you want for yourself in life, choosing to just go against something or someone else because of something you think is worth risking for, you need to know that you're going to meet opposition, and that's why you're required to be bold. Boldness is like, forgive my physics metaphor, but boldness is like kinetic energy. You need to push, you need to have a velocity to be able to push through and get from where you are not being bold to a position where you're being bold. And when you're pushing through, when you're pushing, the word itself, push, means there's something that is countering your push. Otherwise, you will not be pushing, you'd be moving, you'd just be moving. Nothing is really countering you. But when you're pushing for something, there is something that you are going to be up against. And sometimes it's easy for you to stay in a position where you're not bold simply because you don't feel like you have the willpower or the energy to be able to push against whatever it is, whoever it is you're supposed to push against. Don't feel like you have the strength to be able to stand up basically for yourself, for whatever you want, to be able to go against something else. You don't feel like you have it in you. Maybe it's because you believe something about yourself, or you think it's not worth risking, it's scary, it's something that you feel like you cannot survive, you cannot live through. And it's so sad because all throughout growing up, we have kind of been taught that anything that makes you go against someone else is something that you should never, ever dare. If it makes you go against someone else, whether it's confronting someone else, whether it's countering what they say, whatever it is that makes you kind of clash with someone else is not worth it. And I feel like that's very wrong, because sometimes you have to counter people, sometimes you have to go against what people say because it's not always true. And especially when it comes to a season where you're growing up, you have to kind of stand up for yourself, because your life is actually kind of molding itself into what you make it to be. And your life is more in your hands. You're becoming more of an adult. You're relying less on people for your needs, and you're starting to actually find a sense of independence. And without sense of independence, there needs to come a sense of boldness. There needs to come a sense of realizing what you want. And I think one thing that you can really go wrong in is being bold while you've not actually found a reason to be bold. Okay? Being bold without a reason to be. Being bold simply for the sake of being bold. Like, whatever, do you have something you're standing for? Do you have something that you are chasing, like something that is on your mind that you want to get to? Is that the reason of your boldness, or what is the reason of your boldness? Sometimes it's easy for you to be defiant without a reason. It's easy for you to just be defiant because you can be. And I feel like that's where you can go wrong, because boldness requires you to have a rooted desire, to have a desire that's really firmly rooted in you, like knowing what you want. Sometimes it might even take you time to discover what you want, to discover that you want something, and then discover what it is that you want and why you want it. Sometimes some of these answers will not be given to you right away. But I feel like for your boldness to be rooted firmly and to be grounded, you need to have something worth standing for, something that means something to you, something that you're connected to, a higher purpose that you're going for, that is the reason for your boldness, not just being bold for the sake of it, have it rooted in something. Because when opposition comes, when people start to fight against you, or you start to get discouraged and disheartened, that grounding, that root is what is going to hold you. That's what is going to keep you going when you feel like it's getting hard, because it's gonna get hard. Okay, the first thing we said is you're gonna meet opposition, and then it's gonna get hard. You're going to have to push against. And I feel like most times before you go through a predicament or a difficulty, you always feel like you are just so completely unable to overcome it. It's like I'd much rather be anywhere else, be anyone else than be me in this moment and have to face this specific situation or this challenge, because I just feel like I do not have it within me to be able to face it and face it right. I do not have it within me to do what I'm supposed to do, to stand up for myself the way I'm supposed to. I know I should, but I do not feel like I have it in me. I do not feel like I have the strength to overcome, the strength to push against, the strength to stand up. And I know how sad that can be, because when you're in that position, you want to stand for yourself. Like, you actually know what you want and you know that you want it. But just bringing yourself to stand up is like the hardest bit. It's like knowing you're supposed to stand up and run, but not having the strength within your legs to lift yourself up and actually run. So you're stuck in a limbo, you're stuck in a position where you know you're not where you want to be, but you also can't get yourself where you want to be because you don't feel like you have the strength within you. And personally, the kind of advice I can give at this point is to trust time. I think that's like an advice which goes in so many different scenarios. Trusting time, trusting that things will work out, like actually just trusting. I don't know what it is about trust or about faith that is so strong and powerful, but it actually does something. When you hold on, but you also trust, you hold on and you don't let go of your desire. You don't let go of whatever it is you want to work towards. You just have it in your mind and trust that someday you will be able to go for it. Someday you will have that courage, and someday the courage is going to come your way. You have to kind of learn to really, really trust, and trust when you cannot even see anything working out for you, and keep holding on. Like, that's the major bit. Keep on holding on as you wait for the courage to come your way. Sometimes when you force yourself to be courageous and you really feel the opposition within you, like you feel yourself really unable to be courageous, but you're completely forcing yourself, then you can end up not standing up for yourself in ways that you would want. You want to apply boldness when your head is also clear. You want to apply boldness when you feel some sense of courage and bravery to do it. As we said in the beginning, the universe rewards boldness, and that is a true thing. Because when someone is bold, they not only know what they want, but they believe in what they want. They know why they want what they want, and they know that what they want is valid and it's worthy, and it's worth being pursued. When you are bold, you are showing strong belief. In fact, boldness is just the picture of strong belief in something. It's a picture of strong faith in something. When you are bold in something, it shows you believe in that thing. And I think that's even why it's rewarded by the universe. It's because whenever you really have strong belief in something, there is a force behind it. I don't know what to say, but there is something. when you really believe in something, it's kind of like you create it by believing in it. Even in manifestation and even in faith, you actually create things by believing in them. So boldness is a show of belief. It's showing that whatever it is you're being bold in, whether it's standing up for yourself, whether it's standing up for your dreams, whether it's working for something, whether it's just being who you are completely and allowing yourself to be bold in that, it shows that you believe in that thing. You believe in yourself. That's why you're showing love to yourself. That's why you're standing up for yourself, because you believe in what you have to offer and you believe in who you are as a person. And boldness is such an important thing in life because you're going through life alone. You're going through life alone. You are going to have to do so much of life on your own, and you're going to have to face so many things on your own. And that is the case for everyone, whether you have a significant other, whether you have, really close friends and really close parents and really close siblings. You're just going to have to do your life majorly on your own. And that's the fact for everyone. And it reminds me of this song by Billy that starts, it's called Getting Older, right? And I always remember the first time I heard the first line of the song, and I really, really loved it. Till today, it's one of my favorite songs because of that one line. It says, I don't know if I'll get copyrighted for this, but I'm getting older, I think I'm aging well. I wish someone had told me I'd be doing this by myself. Yes, exactly. I'm getting older, I think I'm aging well. I wish someone had told me I'd be doing this by myself. And that's, I feel like, the thing we're not told. Or rather, I was not told that I will be doing life on myself. I will be handling my own issues by myself. It's not that I don't have people to tell, but at some point you really kind of have to handle some things on your own to build that sense of independence, to build self-belief in yourself. Self-belief in yourself, that's like repetition. To build belief in yourself, you have to stand up by yourself and do life by yourself, because everyone is doing life by themselves. And when you realize that you are doing life by yourself, you realize that you need to do life the way that you actually want to. And that requires boldness, like an insane amount of boldness. And depending on where you've come from, who you are going to have to unlearn so many things about boldness that you have internalized over the years. Kind of me, just like how I'm doing it, and learning that boldness is rude, and learning that being bold is being not a good person. Like, if I'm a bold person, I'm irritating. I am not a good person. I'm a rude person. I do not care for others. If I'm being bold, I am not right. You have to unlearn so many things. And that's why it gets kind of hard. But maybe you need to take it a step at a time. Who you are right now, remember, has been shaped by so many things. Literally everything you've gone through in the past, from being a kid to where you are now, has shaped you, has made you as you are right now. Like, literally as you are. Your personality, who you are mentally, who you are physically, has been shaped by the experiences that you've accumulated all throughout your life. So coming to a stage where you require to be bold and to kind of go against some of the personality traits that you had always learned to have, and some of the ways that you've always been, having to go against that will not be easy. It's like trying to erase 10 plus years of knowing that a certain thing is a certain way, knowing that being bold is being rude. You want to try and unlearn that. It's not going to be easy. Your brain, your mind will be fighting against you. It's going to be telling you that you're not being right, you're doing the wrong thing, this is dangerous for us. We were always told never to be bold. We were always taught that boldness is being rude, and you want us to be bold? What kind of a person do you want us to become? You're going to have to rewire so many things within yourself. And I think this is where people get tired, because having to change what you believe is kind of hard. Having to go back and dig within yourself, do shadow work, and realize that you have certain wrong beliefs, and to try and change them, for example, is so hard. You're literally resisting yourself. You are holding yourself back, and you're pulling yourself back into safety, into perceived safety. You think that everything you're used to is what is safe, and that's what you're always going to try and revert back to, even if it's negative, even if it's finishing you. Getting older needs you to shed so much skin, and getting older needs you to become more of who you actually are, and to unlearn everything that you have been for the sake of pleasing others, because you're becoming an individual, you're becoming someone who's autonomous and someone who stands up for themselves and actually has their own life, someone who even gets to a point where they can provide for themselves. So you also need to take up a sense of responsibility for yourself and to know who you are, who you want to be. Who have you been? That's important, because you need to answer the question of who have you been to understand how you can be able to change into who you want to be. Who you have been impacts who you are right now, but who you want to be is impacted by who you are right now and what you do about it. And so boldness is really such an important part of adulthood, and I don't know why we've never been told this. I don't know why we've not been taught to get to a point where we can actually think for ourselves, have opinions of our own, think about who we want to be, like evaluate ourselves and just realize what we first want for our lives instead of what other people want for us. It's so easy to fall into the trap of living your life for everyone else, because the validation you get from it is enough to make you feel like you're a good person. But at the end of the day, if you're not living life for yourself, if you're living life under the cover of someone else, pretending to be someone else to be loved, then you're not living life. You're performing life. You're not living life for yourself. You're not living life as yourself. And that's the most important thing, because any real input you're going to put in this world is going to be done when you live life as yourself. Any change you're going to bring that is actually true is going to be done when you're living as yourself. And you don't know how many people on this earth need you. You don't know how many people on this earth need the version of you that is being bold, need the version of you that is standing up for themselves. And I think, if anything, if you cannot even try and be bold for yourself, think of it as a service to other people. By you being bold, you're meant to change someone's life. You're meant to touch someone. You're meant to impact someone by being bold, and not just being bold, but recognizing who you are and standing up for them. I feel like in this whole podcast episode, my definition of boldness is recognizing who you are, what you stand for, and standing for it and believing in it, and having a strong sense of belief in whatever it is that you have chosen to stand up for. So boldness is not rude. Can we establish that? Boldness is not rude. Boldness is a sign of self-belief, and self-belief is one of the strongest and highest forms of self-love, because it's hard to cultivate self-belief. It's easy for you to feel like believing in yourself is being vain and being proud. And it's like when you feel guilty for saying you're beautiful. And when you say you're beautiful, people are like, you're not supposed to say that. People are supposed to tell it to you, but you're not supposed to say you're beautiful. Or when someone tells you, oh, you're so beautiful, and you say, thank you, I know, it's seen as rude. People are like, you should have just taken the compliment. You don't have to show that you know you're beautiful. And in the end, it's like, if I know that I'm beautiful, what's the problem? If I say thank you, I know. It's true. I do know. So why shouldn't I say it? You see, we've always been taught that boldness is being rude and being vain, and nobody wants that. We all should be humble, and we should not be rude. We should not be bold. And I kind of want to tie back boldness into humility. It's so easy for you to confuse being humble for being not vain or not proud. I don't know what's the word for not vain. What's a word for not vain? It's humble. Okay. It's easy for you to confuse being humble as just being lower. Yeah, like being low in self-esteem. It's easy for you to confuse being humble as lacking confidence. And that is something that has been kind of hard for me to grasp over the years. I've always been a humble human being. I don't know if me saying I've been humble means I'm humble, but I've always been a humble human being, and I've always tried to put other people's thoughts and feelings before mine, because that is what I knew humility as. It's always being lower than others and always letting yourself take the back role, never saying good things about yourself. When people say good things about you, you just say thank you, and you smile, and you don't say I know, even if you know, and you keep quiet even if you know the answer, and you let other people go first. And let me tell you, it served me nothing. It served me nothing. It took me nowhere. It in fact just made me have low self-esteem. And I realized I was never being humble. I was actually just having low self-esteem and low confidence. I did not believe in myself. I was waiting for other people to believe in me so that I could believe in myself. Anything that anyone said to me was like gospel to me. If someone said, oh, you're so smart, I would believe it to the T. And I would, literally my actions would align with that. And when I did papers, when I did exams, I always remembered I am smart. Why? Because someone told me I am smart. And so I'm smart. And despite that seeming like a good thing, in And then on the flip side, if someone said something negative about me, it was also gospel to me. And I believed it whether or not I wanted to, simply because I had learned that to be humble, I need to have low self-esteem, low confidence, and not believe anything good about myself. And in fact, always put myself down. When someone says, oh, you're so good at art. No, I'm not really good, actually. No, like this is actually even so bad. And deep down, I know it is kind of good and I like how that drawing looks. Even if it's not my best work, it's not the best work in the world. I like how it looks. But I cannot be bold. I cannot accept a compliment while showing that I believe in myself. I have to kind of put myself down. And I don't know if you get it, but if you've grown up like me, you totally get it and you totally understand how we confused being humble for being a good child, and we confused low self-esteem for humility, and low self-confidence for humility, and being a people pleaser for humility. So when it gets to a point in life where you realize that you actually have been living life for everyone else, and everything that you know about yourself, it's not because you said it about yourself. It's because someone else said it about you and someone made it your personality and you are the ones who allowed it to happen. It gets kind of hard because now you feel like a fraud. Now you feel like a fake. Now all that you've lived in life has been based off of what someone told you. And you start to ask yourself questions like, then who am I really? What is my self-identity? Do I know who I am? When I say I am passionate, when I say I'm creative, why do I believe that? Who told me that? Why did I believe them? Why can't I believe what I say about myself? And that's why you realize you really don't have any sense of self-trust. You cannot say something about yourself and believe it because you've never learned to. You've always learned that what other people said about you was the only thing that was true and was the only thing that you needed to believe. So you have to go through a journey of building self-trust and building self-belief. How do you do that? By just saying things about yourself and working on them because you said them about yourself. Showing yourself that when you say something about yourself, you believe it enough to work on whatever it is you've said about yourself. If you say, I am a financially responsible human being, why? Because I say so. You start to put steps to show that you are such. Like you start to save money, you start to do things that show you that you are actually what you say you are. You might come to realize that some of the things people have said about you that you believed about yourself are actually true. Oh yeah, I actually realize I'm creative, I'm actually a passionate human being. As so and so told me in the past, and as I've always believed throughout my life, and it's fine. At least now you yourself know that you are it, and you are not waiting for someone else to tell you. Because the thing is, I've said this before, not on a podcast, but I've said this before, if someone can put you up, they can put you down. If your confidence depends on someone else, basically, then they can as well take it away. Whoever gives you something can take it away. So growing up is kind of realizing, or growing into yourself is learning to give yourself those things and learning to know who you are and believe it, like having a sense of self-belief in yourself. Self-belief in yourself. I keep on saying that, having a sense of belief in yourself. Now, we all want to end the year 2026 having achieved our goals and being the dream person we have in our heads. There's always that pressure, to be a completely different person by the end of the year. And we always forget that it's down to little steps that you take every single day or every other day. Like on a daily basis, the little steps you take are what create you into whoever you're going to be at the end of the year. And so since the universe rewards boldness, we want to achieve so many things this year, so we require to be bold. We've kind of gone through why we see boldness as rudeness and why we need to build our own sense of self-belief, because that's what our boldness will rest on. It will not rest on something that someone else said about us or something that someone else told us we are and we believed it. It's based on something we actually know we are. We have evidence for it, something we have tested and tried, and something we have seen ourselves becoming. So now, in this year, like I know it might be a bit late, it's like almost the end of February, and here I'm talking about New Year's resolutions and becoming a whole different person. But the thing is, I want to send a message across for anyone who knows that they need to be bold, to go for life as themselves, not just even achieving your goals and achieving your dreams, even just living life for yourself. Have you ever seen someone who's so free in themselves, someone who is living life really truly for themselves, someone who actually makes decisions that are grounded in themselves? Like people who take gap years, for example, they know that it's going to set them back. They know they're going to be behind others. People are going to be like, you're taking a gap year? Okay. It's something that people will not really advise you to do, but to be able to do it means you kind of have a strong sense of connection to yourself and you know what you want and you trust in your own time. So how can you choose to be bolder this year? I mean, being bold is not just saying, I can do it and doing it. It's not just saying everyone else is worse than me. Like no one can match up to me. I'm just like the toppest tier of this cake and no one can get where I am. And that's why you're bold. That's not it, because people will always be ahead of you in some way or the other. You're not an immortal human being. You're a human being. You're mortal. You're just like the rest of us, meaning you're not the best. You can be like really good in one thing, but you're not the best in it for sure. And even if you're the best in it, you're really not the best in it, And even if you're the best in one thing, you're also not the best in another thing. So you have weaknesses, and so does everyone around you. So having your boldness rest on the fact that you're better than everyone else, damn, girl, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's absolutely the wrong move, because people will come that are better than you. And when that happens, your self-esteem will go with them. Like they will come and beat you. So your self-esteem, which was resting on, I am the best, is now like, but we're not really the best. Like, look, they're better than us. So why are we even confident? Why are we even bold? We are nothing. We need to be quiet. We need to keep quiet. We need to show that we are not the best because we are actually not the best. So how can you be bolder this year? Firstly, I think you need to realize that your life is yours. And when people say your life is yours, it's usually to motivate you to live your best life, to go out there and make risky decisions and to just be the fucking boldest you can be, and to go out there and literally take every opportunity, any and every opportunity to take your money out of your bank and move to a different country to do hectic, crazy stuff. And I know sometimes that's what is necessary in specific situations. But when I say realize that your life is yours, I actually mean, yes, your choices are yours, but that also means your consequences are yours. The choice is yours, but so are the consequences. Whatever choice you make, just know there's always a result. It can be positive, which is like a reward. It can be negative, which is now a consequence. Just know the same way the choices are yours. If you've gotten to a point where you say, my life is mine and my choices are mine, yes, that is very true. But do you also realize that the consequences or the rewards are yours? If you do, kudos, because that's what you need to do. When you're being bold, you need to own your life, but also be responsible over it. Like have a sense of responsibility for your actions. And even as you take risks, know that you are taking risks. Like know what is on the balance and be willing to take responsibility if you are on the losing end. Be willing to move in the right way if the consequences come your way, because you never really know what's going to happen. So when you're being bold, it's not just that's why I'm saying being bold is not just being defiant and being crass. It's more of moving with intention and with self-belief, knowing that it's not about what happens next. It's about the fact that you believed in yourself enough to stand up for whatever it is you're standing up for. It's the fact that you believed in yourself enough to be able to take charge over something that you've never chosen to take charge over. And when you do that, it really does not matter what happens, because what matters is the believing in yourself bit. The being bold is the reward when you're doing it right. It's not that if I am being bold and if this works out, if it doesn't work out, I have to find a way of escape or something. No, it's owning your responsibility, owning your choices, being ready to face whatever comes after, whether it's a reward, in which case congratulations, or a consequence, in which case you have to face it. So being bold comes with a sense of responsibility, and a high level of responsibility at that. So do not just move towards being bold because it's cool or because people are encouraging you to make life yours and take your choices and do that and do all that. Move because you have a reason to, and you're not afraid of the consequences that come from it. To be bold, you need to take more risks. That's for sure. You need to take more risks. But as I said in the beginning, you have to weigh and know what risks are worth taking and what risks are not worth taking. And you have to gauge that and measure them within yourself and ask yourself, who are you doing it for? Why are you doing it? What is driving you to do it? What happens if you don't get whatever it is you're standing up for? If it doesn't work out, what happens? Why do you think you need to fight for whatever it is you need to fight for? Like, actually be a bit introspective about your boldness and know why you are being bold. Ask yourself questions as to why you're doing what you're doing. And by asking yourself those questions, gauge whether it's worth taking a risk in a certain thing than in another thing. Because if you're bold and you're foolish, you're going to be on the losing end. If you're bold and you're not going about it smartly, you're going to lose. You're going to lose and lose a lot, and you're going to never gain the fruits of being bold because you're not going about it right. You don't have a right procedure. You've not thought about it right, and you've not been introspective enough concerning it. You've not asked yourself questions that you need to answer. When you're being bold, you require to lead with hope and not with fear. It's easy for you to make decisions out of fear. Fear is one of the emotions which make us act the most impulsively. Okay, that's kind of arguable because anger also does that, but fear is something that can make you really act without thinking, and fear is something that makes people just do things very irrationally. For example, during COVID, when there were rumors of a lockdown and people went and bought like hella groceries, so many groceries. People bought food, a lot of things because they thought now they're going to be locked down. That makes sense, but it shows you how fear is a really driving emotion. Sometimes you may think when you're afraid, you get paralyzed. And it's true, that can happen. Like, that's happened to me a lot of times. But also, you find that sometimes when you are afraid, you actually move, and you move without thinking, and you do things without thinking simply because you are afraid, or not just even afraid, you're experiencing some intense emotions, whether it's fear, whether it's anger, whatever it is. You're always told never to act when your emotions are on the peak. You always act when you're kind of stable and you're thinking rationally and you're actually reasoning. And fear is one of the emotions that can make you act irrationally and act in a way that you might think is bold, but it is actually foolish. You might think, oh, I'm being so bold right now by, going and confronting this person in front of everyone because they've not done me nicely. But in that moment, you feel like you're being bold and you feel like you're doing the right thing, only for the fear or the anger or the intense emotion to subside and for you to feel like a fool because you just ended up not going about it the right way. Yes, the goal was to stand up for yourself, but the way that you did it, you ended up not going about it the right way. So you have to practice hope instead of fear. You have to practice not just hope, but rather calm intentions and calm emotions. You have to move boldly, but also when you are thinking straight and when you're reasoning straight and when you are not under the high of emotions and under intensities of emotions and you're not moving on bursts of an emotion. You have to settle and actually know that you're in a stable enough position to make rational decisions. Because otherwise you'll end up having to face a lot of consequences, a lot of, downsides of being bold that you didn't really have to face if you had just waited for when you were stable enough. Also, you kind of have to realize if your boldness is in terms of something like going for your dreams, you have to realize that fear is a companion of bravery. That is one of the best quotes I've ever had till today. And it's so true. Fear is a companion of bravery. Whenever bravery goes somewhere, fear is right by its side. Whenever you do something with courage, you're also doing it with fear. Most times when you're speaking up for yourself, your voice is shaking even if you're doing it. Your hands are shaking, your heart is palpitating, but you're still standing up for yourself. And fear is such an important component of bravery and of going for something that you believe in and for standing for something that you believe in. Because when you are afraid, it actually shows that it matters and it shows that you actually care about whatever it is you're standing up for. You're not just doing it. You actually have care for it. You care about it. And instead of letting fear put you down and make you think that you're not supposed to do something, you need to let fear uplift you and fear show you that you are going in the right direction. Of course, you should not be like extremely afraid, like frozen to death. When you're going for something and you're being bold, you wait for that emotion to kind of subside and you soothe yourself, speak to yourself, tell yourself that it's gonna be okay. And when you're going towards standing up for yourself and when you're about to be bold, if you feel some fear, it's okay. Just remember, it's fine. Bravery and fear go as companions. And when you're being the most brave, at times that's when you're being the most afraid and you're shaking in your boots and you're literally quivering and your voice is shaking, but you're doing it anyway. Like that's the main bit, you're doing it anyway. To be bold, you have to honor yourself. And to honor yourself, you have to stay true to yourself and to know yourself. Being bold is an act of self-belief, as I've said. And also being bold shows that you know what you want and you believe in what you want and you're true to what you want. So when you're being bold, stay true to your wants, stay true to your joys, delve into what excites you without thinking about what other people say. Something that can really hold you back when you're trying to be bold is, what will other people say about me? And one thing I've learned is like you can never satisfy everyone. And the more you keep on being afraid of what someone will say about you or think about you, the more you will never actually get to be bold and stand up for yourself and stand up for the life that you want to live. Because people will always have opinions. At the end of the day, I like to think of people as little kids. And all of us as now little kids of like 2 years old. And I now think about myself. I'm trying to please a fellow little kid. No. I'm living my life unhappily because I'm trying to make someone else happy. I'm holding myself back from going for my dreams because I don't want to embarrass myself in front of someone. No, as they say, embarrassment is an unexplored emotion. Like, go out there and be embarrassed a whole lot more and you'll realize it's all in your head. Whenever you need to be bold, you also need to practice a lot of self-belief in yourself. Like, you will have to do things which people are like, wow, like you're really putting yourself out there. I mean, it's not like you, and people might be used to a certain version of you, and that's fine. You can't blame them. Like, if someone you knew started doing something different or went into a different line or path of life, you would, of course, be kind of held back because you're used to a certain version of them and you're kind of trying to learn this new version of them. But don't ever let that hold you back. Don't let what other people think about you hold you back, because that clearly shows you that you are not living life for yourself. If it's all about what other people think, who's going to live your life for you? At the end of the day, you forget that it's actually your life. And the more you live it for other people, the more you don't live it for yourself. The more you try to make other people happy, the more you are miserable yourself. There's the self-sacrifice where you actually go out of your way to make others happy and you put yourself last, and there's that kind of self-sacrifice. But there's this other one where you're trying to make people happy and they don't even know it. And they're not actually really being happy like you think they should be. And it's killing you. Like, basically, in simple terms, it is killing you. It's putting you down. It's on your mind every day. If you see that's the sacrifice you have to make. If the sacrifice you're putting on the line is your happiness, your joy, your sense of self-worth, your excitement for life is on the line simply to make other people happy, you're choosing not to be bold to keep other people happy, and they're not even saying thank you because they don't even know that you're doing that for them, then it's not worth it, babe. It's not worth it at all. Like, let it go. Realize that people will not be happy with what you do. People will not be happy because of the things you have said or the person you're becoming or the way you're standing up for yourself or you chasing your dreams, chasing your goals. It will not make people happy. It'll make them uncomfortable. It'll make them wonder where's the version of you that they're used to. But if someone really wants to care about you and if someone really does care about you, they will not shame the versions of you that you become. They will move through them with you. Like, if you have become a new version of yourself, they will believe that you have become that because you know that you need to become that to live your life as the happiest version of you. And they will support you. They will stand with you. They will learn the new version of you and they will be honest with you instead of trying to put you down. Okay? You need to gauge. You need to be very critical also of how people respond to your boldness and how you take that, what kind of a sign that is for you. Because certain times when you become bold, people's reactions can show you whether you want to keep on being in certain relationships with them based on whether or not they are reacting positively to your boldness Are they shunning you? Are they trying to put you down? And I think sometimes you have to settle for the fact that people might never come to accept your bold version. Some people might never come to accept that, and it's okay. It's fine, but that does not mean that you need to stop being bold. I guess getting older is kind of realizing that you're going to disappoint people and it's fine. And if you've grown up as a people pleaser, you feel like it's killing you because you're used to making other people happy by being what other people need. So whenever you see that you're not making them happy, it's like, I'm being a bad person. I'm a villain. I need to be stopped. I need to stop this. I need to be what they need. I need to make them happy at the expense of my own happiness. You don't. In your journey of being bold, be ready to fail and realize that failure is necessary. Being bold is not always knowing that you're going to win. Being bold, as we've said, is knowing that whether or not you win, it was worth it anyway. Being bold is just realizing that the self-belief that you have is not based on anything that surrounds you. It's not based on anything that's material outside of you, inside of you. It's only about who you are as a person and you learning to be true to that person. As I've said before in this podcast, I like to think about myself as not me. I like to think of my life as a responsibility. And my responsibility in this body is to be as true to this personality as I can be, to be as true to this person that you see, this person that you can hear, as much as I can be. Because it's like my soul can move between bodies, and in whichever body I am in, my goal is to be the most them that I can be, to allow them to fully express who they are. It's like the body has personality and it has the person that I'm supposed to be, and the soul now gives that person life. And my work is not to constrict them and to make them into something that makes other people happy and someone who is living life for other people. My goal is to give them the chance to breathe and move through life as themselves. And I don't have a lot of time. I only have a couple of years, not even more than 100 years, And my goal is to do the most I can do for myself within that time, to be the most me that I can be. And you find that life sometimes will demand boldness of you. Life will tell you, you got to be fucking bold. You got to stand up for your fucking self. Or if you don't, I will pass you by. Like, you will not get to experience so many things that you're meant to experience. And when it gets to that point, please realize that it's okay to take it a step at a time. You don't need to be bold overnight. It can take you a year to be bold. It can take you 6 months. It can take you 2 years. But whatever the rate it's going to go at, just hold on to the vision of who you want to be and believe in it. Just slowly, day by day, add a little pinch of self-belief into that vision of who you want to become. If there's ways in which you can move towards it, take those baby steps. We tend to be very ignorant of the baby steps. We tend to really not see where baby steps take you. But really, any journey is taken by going a step at a time, a day at a time, going one foot in front of the other. That's how you finish the race. You don't finish it by standing at the starting line and flying to the finish end. You don't do it by jumping and disappearing from the start line to the finish line. You go it by going it, like you finish the journey by going every single step of the way. So I think it's time for you to realize that your boldness first requires you to self-believe, to believe in yourself. And if it requires you to believe in yourself, you're going to have to stand. You're going to have to hold on and just every single day, put in a pinch of self-belief in yourself. Self-belief in yourself. I'm doing it again. Put in a pinch, a grain. And one day you'll find your whole beach is full of sand. That's like what you need to do. To be bold, you need to trust. Show a willingness to believe in what you think you want for yourself. Because honestly, what you think you want for yourself matters a lot. Because you're getting older. Someone needs to tell you that you're going to be doing this by yourself. You're getting older. The person you once were, you will come to a point where you outgrow them. The point is to do it with grace. The point is not to shed who you are instantly, but to just peel off the layers slowly by slowly. Because even peeling off the layers of who you are is a painful process. Having to unlearn who you are and meet a version of you that you don't know, a version which you might not yet trust, is a hard thing, but you can do it. So as you get older, as you go for your dreams, as you choose to stand up for who you are, I need you to remember that you are allowed to be bold. I wish you all the best as you work on being bold. it's 2:22 p.m. when you're finishing filming this. So like angel numbers, the people who are all about angel numbers, what does 222 mean? I don't know. It's just suddenly turned 2:23. So I'm gonna end right there. Remember to be bold, and remember this year to take risks, but also not to be foolish. Like take risks which you have actually well thought about. I love you so much, and thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week with another episode, or somewhere in between this week for another episode. Have a lovely rest of your day, rest of your night, rest of your evening, and I will see you soon.